In contrast to the last presidential election, this time the opinion polls got the results about right, despite what looked like a huge number of undecided voters right up to election day. The nearly complete results show Nicolas Sarkozy received just over 31% of the vote. Ségolène Royal was second with nearly 26%. In third place, centrist François Bayrou. Far-right leader Jean-Marie Le Pen finished fourth. Well, joining me to discuss the results is Jacques Reland, Head of European Research for the Global Policy Institute at London Metropolitan University. Jacques, a very good day to you. First of all, something that struck most commentators, 85% turnout.
Yeah, that's an amazing turnout.
What do you read from that?
But it shows one thing. I think that the French still believe in traditional party politics and politicians, but more important maybe that they believe in change. And they believe that traditional parties maybe can implement this change, because this time we see, for example, that three leading candidates gather about 75% of the vote, unlike 5 years ago. An amazing transformation.
A change in personalities, yes, but necessarily a change in policies? A
change in policies, definitely. The results show it clearly. The very good score of Nicolas Sarkozy, which is quite amazing, 31%, which is the highest score for over 20 years, since 1974 for a right-wing candidate in the first round. The score of Ségolène Royal also, and the score of Bayrou, who wanted to change. All three presented some kind of change, all different, but all candidates for a change and endorsed by the population.
So there was a whole raft of candidates up to this point. How will the campaigning of Ségolène Royal and Nicolas Sarkozy change over the next 2 weeks?
But we've already seen with Sarkozy, he was more divisive, trying to counter the National Front very successfully, as it's proven to be, because the National Front is now down to 10%, and had a fairly divisive campaign and talked about issues such as immigration and crime, etc. Now we can see that he's toning down his speech. It reminded me a bit of Margaret Thatcher when she made a speech of St. Francis of Assisi in 1979. He wants a fraternal France, a brotherly France, where we can all together, nobody will be left out. He reached out to the sick, to the handicapped, to everyone. And so tone down his thing and try to go into values. That's the thing, because many people complain that the campaign until now has been too dominated by little policy issues, and he will try to raise the debate.
And does Ségolène Royal really have to show her mettle now? She's been criticised for her foreign policy gaffes, she's been criticised for some of her economic predictions and the sort of things that... So she got to really nail that to win?
That's one of the things, but first, I mean, given the delay she has, she's got quite a lot of ground to make up for Nicolas Sarkozy, and the left is at its lowest point in a long time, at 37% of the vote. She will have to have a very difficult exercise to try to appeal to the center, where there's a pool of votes there, while appealing to the left, and it will be very difficult to square that circle. Also, she could, I mean, probably the card she will play is the fear factor arising from Nicolas Sarkozy.
And do you detect an anyone but Sarkozy campaign?
That's it. That's what it will be. It will be dominated by that. The other thing she could try to do maybe is try to examine his economic program more in detail, which she hasn't done. And she will try to put it into a choice of society. On one hand, you have a more liberal free market society, which the French up to now have been very reluctant to espouse. And with me, you'll have change, but in a more reassuring. The problem is that the program is still very hazy, and it will be a very difficult task for Ségolène Royal.
Who's going to win?
I think Nicolas Sarkozy.
By how much?
I would say maybe 52%.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Jacques Reland, always good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indeed.